Hello everyone, Tyraptor101 here, and today I'm doing a video that is pretty new. I'm going to actually do a kaiju battle. Now, this video is going to be Zilla Jr. or Godzilla from Godzilla the series versus Legendary's version of Mothra. Now, today I'm going to be going over some facts that I'll probably do in my other videos. Strength, bite, experience, etc. But this time I'm actually going to do special abilities and some other, go over the abilities that these two have. Now I'm going to go over little reviews of who these two creatures are, because I'll start out with Mothra. Mothra was a titan in Godzilla King of the Monsters, and she was an ancient species of, titan. It was like a moth slash butterfly who egg was found by Monarch, and when she hatched, and she turned out to be a larva, obviously, and she eventually evolved into the moth version of actually turned into Mothra, and she eventually went out to help Godzilla fight King Ghidorah. But some titans that King Ghidorah had, leading him, or listening to his alpha calls, were now fighting for her, for him, helping him fight. And one of those titans was Rodan, and this leads to Rodan and Mothra fighting. The fight is, in the movie there's a lot of cutaways with the fight, but from what I could see, it definitely is Mothra's really struggling. Rodan's a lot stronger and obviously larger than her, and just throwing her around, but she's still able to get a few licks in. Even one scene, it seems like she's able to knock Rodan out the air, and she's like grabbing onto him as Rodan falls. Mothra grabbing on as he hits the ground. She flies off, and Rodan flies after her. After a while, we see that Mothra then goes flying into a building, which I believe maybe Rodan uses thunderclap, what he used earlier in the movie. You should go watch the movie. It has some great Titan scenes in it, even though the movie might not have been that great, but it does have some great Titan action sequences in it. But get back to topic, Rodan uses his thunderclap, slapping his wings together, able him to make a loud enough, strong enough wind or shockwave that it probably pushed Mothra back. And now that Mothra's now up against the building, Rodan begins to assault Mothra using his assault. Okay, that sounds a little weird, but he uses his wings, and since Rodan is a titan that lives in a volcano, he's constantly shooting flames from out of his wings at times, and this time he uses them to now burn Mothra. Mothra's burning in pain. Godzilla can't really help because he's busy with King Ghidorah, and eventually Mothra is able to get Rodan off using her legs, using her arms to hit him. But this doesn't really hold him off for too much longer, as he comes right back. This time Mothra is able to put herself in a more defensive position, and as Rodan tries to use his beak to peck off her head, she constantly is dodging to the left and the right. Eventually, as Rodan has her lined up, he's just about to kill her, she stabs her stinger. Yeah, stinger like a bee right through his shoulder area. And here's the thing here. It's kind of somewhat like it misses his heart area or any organs or anything that could have killed him, and it goes right into an area where Rodan wouldn't die. He does seem to kind of pass out from shock, and he's hurt, and Mothra pulls her stinger out, and Rodan falls, hits the ground, and Mothra, her wings are burned. She's hurt, and you see her struggling to stand after this, and we can even see that Rodan is still alive. He's struggling a little bit, and he definitely is hurt. that's when the next time we see Mothra, Godzilla has been dropped from, I wouldn't say outer space, but from the edge of the atmosphere, falls and is now crippled. And Mothra climbs on Godzilla and using her wings, she covers Godzilla. She starts to glow again and gains enough strength to fly towards King Ghidorah. As she's flying towards King Ghidorah, she roars at him. Ghidorah spreads out his wings, charges up, and fires his, what was it, I forgot what you call it, his beam. I forgot what you call his beam. But whatever you call it, it'll probably come back to me in a few minutes. But, he shoots it, and you can see Mothra, instead of her kind of keeping her head straight, she puts herself in a position to where she straightens out her body, and she kind of, puts herself in a more upright position so Ghidorah could hit her easy. She screeches in pain as it pushes her back towards Godzilla, and she seemingly implodes. Her energy and her life force trickles down on Godzilla, giving him somewhat of enough energy to destroy King Ghidorah and go into his burning form. Now that's pretty much her story, what she did in King of the Monsters, and I guess that's pretty much it. Now for Zilla, or Godzilla Jr., however you want to call him. I'll call him Zilla Jr. for this video, and probably that will be on the title, unless I change my thoughts. But, so Zilla Jr. in, Godzilla the series is the offspring of the original Godzilla from the 1998 movie that most Godzilla fans hated. I mean, the movie is a good monster movie, but it's not Godzilla movie. It's just not Godzilla movie. It's a monster movie, but not a Godzilla movie. And Zilla actually seems to be more like Godzilla in some ways. How he fights, and he just, like, from the moment he's born, we see, like, hours later, he's growing extremely quickly, which, shows just kind of how much of a threat the other babies could have been if they all could have had these abilities. But let's get back to the main topic. So after Zilla Jr. grows up a little bit, he eventually imprints on Nick Nicktopolis. From the movie and from the series that they're in, he imprints on Nick, and now follows Nick around as him and Heat Team go around trying to stop or capture any mutations. Someone, probably what Zilla's father was a mutation, and now Titans and other creatures are now appearing up all over the world. Godzilla and Heat are now have to go around and stop them. And the first first monster he fights is a crustaceous Rex type of creature that is like mixed with a squid and a crustacean. And this Zilla is more like a sub-adult. He still has yet to kind of grow up fully, right? He doesn't seem to be at his full height or full strength. And he definitely isn't too experienced in fighting. So when he's fighting C-Rex, he really does seem to struggle. C-Rex is really, more agile, dodging a lot of his attacks. He does get a good bite and scratch in, but eventually C-Rex shoots like some ink out of his mouth into Zilla's face, and after a good hit, hits Zilla Jr. back into deeper water. As C-Rex now goes back onto the land looking for a bigger food source, as now its food supplies have run out and it's looking for any food source necessary. And as it seems like all hope is really lost at the moment, Zilla Jr., goes full King Kong and throws a rock at C-Rex's back, driving C-Rex's attention. The C-Rex climbs up into a cliff face over the ocean. Zilla quickly dives over the edge and burrows into the side of the mountain. Now, unstabilizing the cliff, he gets behind C-Rex, and as C-Rex falls to his demise, it really seems like this really should be it. But C-Rex wraps his tendrils around Zilla. Zilla Jr. has to use his his green atomic fire, which is not necessarily atomic breath. It really does, it's more like atomic fire. It's definitely hotter than regular fire. And, use this ability, and it just disintegrates C-Rex's arms. And kind of similar to kind of a scene with Mothra, where C-Rex falls and he seemingly passes out from this. Maybe his tendrils are getting burned off. The shock caused him to pass out. But after this, we see C-Rex not move. His eyes aren't open. He's just out. And we see Zilla roars in his victory. Him standing on a now crumbling cliff face. It collapses, and Zilla ends up falling, the same height as C-Rex. And he hits the ground, landing pretty much on top of C-Rex and all the rocks that are around him. And then more rocks and chunks of the cliff fall on Zilla. And a few seconds later, Zilla bursts free of the rocks and is perfectly fine after this battle. And now that's one fight. Now another fight was when he was fighting a creature called Quetzalcoatl. This creature is pretty much, the Godzilla series version of Rodan. And she comes from a volcano as well. But unlike Rodan, she actually spits flames. And Zilla in her fight near the end of the episode, it definitely is a relatively short fight, but it is somewhat action-packed, as we see Zilla really kind of, showing Quetzalcoatl how it's done, dodging her fire breath and shoving her into the sides of the volcano. Eventually, though, she is able to knock him out for a moment, and then, hearing the sounds of her screaming babies, as Nick Topless and his team are trying to rescue one of the members from the nest, Quetzalcoatl's nest, so the babies can't eat one of the members. Quetzalcoatl comes in and tries to attack them, but Zilla Jr. comes in and stops Quetzalcoatl before she can harm them. Quetzalcoatl, seeing her babies in danger, lets out a last-ditch attempt to defeat Zilla Jr., and she just unleashes Hail Mary, three fireballs, and Zilla tanks these with little to no injury. Doesn't seem to feel much from this, and retaliates back with his atomic breath, which also doesn't seem to do much to her, as she is able to easily survive the heats of the volcano without little to no injury. So this doesn't really hurt her. And eventually, though, realizing her babies are in danger, she's forced to retreat. The volcano around her, though, isn't really helping her, as when a rock falls and pushes her down into the lava, Zilla shooting his breath, destroying her nest, and causing the volcano to crumble in on itself, pretty much sealing her in once again with her children this time. And that is that fight. Now, for another fight he was in, now I'm not going to go through his whole fight, so I'm just going to go through this one more fight, and then that's it. I may highlight some moments from other fights, but I'm not going to go deep into it. Maybe I can do that in another episode. But, see, Zilla Jr. then, in another fight, ends up actually having to fight the 1998 Zilla, but now turned into Cyberzilla under the mind control of the aliens. There was cybernetic parts and weaponry, now seemingly more powerful, as it now go up against his son. Zilla Jr. now siding with the humans after, actually almost for a second siding with his father, ends up fighting Cyberzilla and the alien forces. After attacking the alien ships, Zilla Jr. and the I guess the Heat team really can help, but Zilla Jr. now has to fight Cyberzilla in a 1v1, and Cyberzilla uses the alien little blasters they put on its dorsals, and he easily dodges those attacks, and he digs down really quickly. Cyberzilla walks up to his hole, and he shoots his breath up, and his breath is strong enough to force her, or, well, I guess, into the air, Cyberzilla into the air, and causing Cyberzilla to drop to the ground. And Zilla Jr. walks up to Cyberzilla. Cyberzilla roars at his face as Zilla, now showing no mercy to his parent, unleashes his fire breath onto Cyberzilla, Cyborg as the aliens call it, called Cyberzilla. And the aliens end up being like, oh, he's defeating our Cyborg, but they end up having, the aliens are now invading Earth. So, the alien ships start to attack Zilla, and distracting Zilla from the Cyborg for a few moments. This allows the Cyborg to recover from the atomic blast, was able to knock out the Cyborg, burning some of the metal and turning sand around the Cyborg's head literally to glass. The Cyborg gets back up and tries to attack Zilla, but he dodges the attack and gets actually hit with the aliens owned, by the aliens themselves, blasting off one of its robotic arms. Soon, Zilla and Cyberzilla are now fighting again after the aliens, alien ships aren't firing at him as much, as the Heat team are able to take control of one of their ships, and they are able to help Zilla fight Cyberzilla in a fair 1v1. As the fight begins, Zilla and Cyberzilla are really outmatched. Zilla Jr. is just way more powerful. He's just, headbutting his father, sending him flying. He just can't keep up with his son. Now the aliens divert all the power they can to the Cyborg, and the Cyborg now charges head first towards Zilla Jr. And Zilla Jr. Has to dodge, and he dodges this attack, spins around and tail whips his father in a split second. Cyberzilla falls over into the water. He tries to use, now Cyberzilla does have like a blue atomic ray, which I guess the aliens with their alien tech were able to give him, or give her, I guess, so that way she can kind of equal out Zilla Jr. and any other monsters. And after this, Zilla jumps up onto, leaps up over the atomic fire from his parent and just starts to rip. He rips out the chest, ripping out the controls and, shutting off the life support systems, killing his father and ending his father suffering, or his parents, because technically this whole time Cyberzilla was under control and probably really couldn't control his body or her body and really just didn't know. But so let's get back to the fight at hand. So the first I'm gonna go through is, instead of just going for bite and strength, I'm gonna go for weaponry and strength. So Mothra, for weaponry, she has her melee weaponry. She has her little claws, pincer claws. She has her silk, which can also be used in battle, and also to mention, she's small and pretty swift, able to move around, and able to stay out of Zilla's melee range, even though this will be difficult, because when you look at Zilla's melee weapons, he has a jaw full of large sharp teeth, claws, large strong legs and tail, the ability to dig underground, Also, his dorsals can also be used as a weapon, which is kind of hampering Mothra's ability. Like, if she wanted to charge in from behind him, it probably would be a little bit more difficult to attack his back. These, I think, with Zilla's size and weight advantage and overall strength over Mothra, I definitely think Mothra could probably, if she is able to get the, sneak attack or blindside Zilla, she could probably knock Zilla down, but do any serious damage with her arms. Zilla has definitely been stabbed and bitten onto by, weapons and, armor and such, and also, he does seem to have somewhat of a minor regeneration factor. He doesn't seem to be extremely quick, but it does seem to be quick enough to regenerate from blast or stab wounds relatively quickly, which means that if something like this were to happen to, Mothra also does have a stinger, and if she starts stinging him, he could heal from this relatively quickly, and plus the stinger probably wouldn't do too much damage anyway. Now weaponry, I'll probably give weaponry to Zilla, and I'll probably give strength easily to Zilla. Mothra was barely able to push around Rodan in that one sequence I was talking about, since we really didn't see exactly what was happening off screen. I can't really say if she outright pushed him or Rodan just, she blindsided him or what. Next, I'll go for special abilities. Now, for special abilities, this is going to go for, Mothra's ability to be somewhat immortal, because she constantly comes back with a new egg, which means that even if Zilla outright kills Mothra here, technically she could still come back stronger in knowing how to fight Zilla this time. Now, other than that, and one ability she does seem to have is the ability to, use her God Rays, which can blind an opponent. Also, she has her Silk, which can kind of wrap up Zilla. Though we have seen Zilla in situations with Silk before, like when he got into position with a giant what was it, widow spider, or like a I forgot what you call it, black widow spider, I think it was, and it used its webbing to try to pin him down to like a rock so she could kill him, but he easily was able to break out of this. Now, Mothra's Silk was able to hold down King Ghidorah, so I really doubt, Zilla could easily break out of this. But the fact that Zilla has his beam, and the fact that he is able to dig pretty easily, and he's not no shrub either, he's pretty strong. And I think after a few moments, he probably would be able, maybe a minute or so, would be able to break out of the Silk, even though this probably would be enough time for Mothra to land some good attacks with her, with her stinger. We have seen also Zilla fight bees, mutant bees, and we've shown that their stingers really, they hurt him, but not really pierced his skin. Which I also doubt, I think Mothra's would go into his skin, but probably wouldn't make him bleed. If it did, he would really recover from this really quickly. So, I just think that, so far, with Zilla's size and strength, he has weaponry, he has strength, and he also, for special abilities, Zilla isn't really too special. One of his special abilities is his atomic breath, atomic heat ray, that could be used. And looking at how Mothra didn't fare too well against Rodan's fire, she probably wouldn't fare too well against Zilla's. Look at how Zillas have been shown to mutilate and burn smaller mutations to puddles of nothing on the ground. if Mothra gets a direct hit of this in the face, she isn't just gonna fly away. She's probably gonna die. So I think overall, I think I'll give special abilities to Mothra because her special abilities, like her God Rays, can blind Zilla. Her mortality means she technically can't die. She can lose, but she can't technically die. She can be reincarnated in her, technically her daughter. And now my next one is experience. I'm sorry, no, intelligence. So for intelligence, Mothra is a relatively pretty intelligent kaiju. She's shown to be able to understand humans and understand when they're a threat, when they're not, able to, communicate with Godzilla, telling him to wake up, even showing humans where Godzilla is so they can help revive him. Then they were able to, she was able to, understand how, her abilities, how to sacrifice herself to give Godzilla a boost of energy. So with that, combined with that, I guess that pretty much rounds it up for what she did. Pretty intelligent. Now for Zilla, though. Zilla Jr. shown high levels of intelligent problem solving, able to outsmart his opponents in combat. Also, able to show empathy and mourning when he lost his partner, Komodo Rex, which pretty much is just a Komodo dragon, when he lost her, and it was also, shown anger and other emotions that seemingly can only be felt by something with intelligence as a human. Now, it's possible that with Mothra, I think intelligence. I'm probably gonna get hounded by this, but honestly, I might give it to Zilla. Okay, how about this? I'll give intelligence equal for both of them. Mothra isn't dumb and neither is Zilla. I definitely think Mothra is smart enough to problem solve. It would definitely be smart enough to problem solve with Zilla as well. Now, with Zilla and Rodan, both of them shown to be a lot stronger than Mothra, yet she was still able to defeat Rodan, yes, with injury, but she was able to defeat a stronger opponent. So, necessarily Mothra is probably not new to fighting larger and stronger opponents, and plus, it's not like Mothra was expecting to fight Rodan. Rodan just came out of nowhere and got the upper hand on her. So, yes, one thing you have to put into perspective. So, yeah, I think I'll give intelligence equal. Now, experience, we've seen Zilla fight all sorts. Zilla Jr. I've seen him fight all sorts of creatures in his, series. He's fought mutants, he's fought sea creatures, he's fought aliens, he's fought hybrids, he's fought robots, he's fought DNA creatures, he's fought everything imaginable. He's fought, he's going up against some creature that freezes things. I don't even know what that thing even was. But, yeah, Zilla definitely is one powerhouse and definitely is... Oh, yeah, he is pretty experienced when fighting. He learns pretty quickly, and definitely I feel like Zilla could definitely do a lot of damage to any opponent, and he's able to outsmart and use his experience. Mothra, since she is able to be reincarnated, she could have fought hundreds of creatures over millennia. And we've seen ancient cave paintings with seemingly a Mothra, or maybe another Mothra, maybe Mothra's the last of her kind as well. It seemingly is a trend with a lot of these titans, them being like the last of their kind. And it also shows like experience of Mothra. I was believe she could have been in the Great Titan War, could have helped fight Ghidorah a long, long time ago. She has been in battle, war after war. And I think with that experience, you see, the thing about it is we don't really know how Mothra fought them, but do we really need to know? I think experience, I would give the slight edge to Mothra because of that reincarnation thing and the fact that she's lived millions of years. Well, Zilla's lived probably a few hundred. No, okay, not a few hundred, but definitely like maybe 10 so years. The series probably takes place over like 5 or 6, but he probably lives a good few years after, probably a lot more, until maybe dying because he can't reproduce by himself, so he'd probably just wander off somewhere and die with old age, sadly. So Zilla Jr. and her I've shown pretty so far. Now next I'll do speed and agility. Speed and agility, both of them have shown to be very agile. Zilla shown to be able to leap around, dodge missiles and attacks from close range. Good at hand-to-hand combat, able to leap around, dodge. Use his also burrowing ability to help him when fighting. Now Mothra, though, with her ability to fly, she definitely would have the edge over Zilla when it comes down to, her, since she's able to fly, she would probably be able to get out of Zilla's reach. Though, she doesn't seem to be too incredibly agile. She doesn't seem to be the best flyer. Like, she doesn't seem to be super part Rodan in flying. So she definitely would probably, because Zilla has fought in bee creatures. And if you know bees fly pretty fast. And he's still able to catch up with her beads. I could definitely see him catching up with Mothra. And also, the fact that he was able to jump, and he also does have a range attack, he wouldn't be totally, Mothra, he wouldn't be totally unable to attack Mothra. He would probably definitely resort to his atomic breath or atomic fire, or resort to, jumping up and trying to grab her. So I'll give them equal for speed and agility. Though I do think Zilla would have a slight edge, but since Mothra is able to fly, I think that would definitely equal out this. So our overall tally now is Zilla Jr. has strength and weaponry. Tied with intelligence, tied with tied in speed and agility. Experience goes to Mothra. What else was it? Special abilities I think I gave to Mothra. And I guess because Zilla would get, size, strength, and weaponry, and speed and agility would be equal, intelligence would be equal, experience would go to Mothra, and speed and agility equal. What else? Anything I missed? Durability also. Okay, durability. Durability definitely, I think, would go to Zilla. Now, hear me out. Zilla Jr. fought a Titan, Rodan, and Rodan hit him with a few fireballs, and he's shown to be pretty resistant to these fireball attacks. The fireballs didn't affect him whatsoever, and he was easily able to retaliate with little to no injury. He's shown at a very, very young age to be able to take tank shells and airstrikes that killed his father, but didn't kill him. Able to take multiple bites, scratches from other creatures of larger and somewhat stronger proportions. He definitely is, he definitely, I feel like, is more durable just from what he was able to take. Mothra gets burned up by Rodan, and yet, Zilla gets hit by rockets and other such weapons with pretty much the same amount of firepower, and would just didn't show much injury from it. He's shown to somewhat survive an island exploding, survive being in the heart of a volcano somewhat. Well, not in the lava, but like, right near it, and didn't really get, seem to be phased or dazed by anything. He definitely is able to take loads of attacks from enemies that would probably severely hurt or kill Mothra, but wouldn't kill him. Definitely Mothra is more of a Titan that she would fight alongside, Titan like Godzilla or Kong, but not a Titan like, not fight by herself. She can hold her own, as we saw with Rodan, but she just can't stand up against something like Zilla. And I think Zilla would definitely have a little bit more trouble because she's able to fly, and she's not dumb, and she's experienced enough that she would probably stay out of reach of Zilla. They would probably try to use her stinger and hit him in the head and try to land a lethal blow. Also try to probably use her silk to pin Zilla against buildings and, the ground. They're also looking at the fact that Zilla is able to dig underground. If Mothra starts trying to use her silk, and Zilla catches on to this and realizes the silk can actually is something that can kind of hold him and keep him from fighting, he would probably either use his atomic fire to burn the silk away, which probably would happen, or he would just, probably would take him a minute, but he probably would be able to rip through his silk eventually. Definitely, I feel like if Zilla is able to get off one good atomic fire breath into Mothra's face, like he's able to pin her down, once this happens, she's gone. Zilla would throw it, once Zilla gets Mothra in his hands, as long as he can hold her down and rip her head off or quickly dispatch her, she would definitely, with her arms, would put up a good kind of fight and would definitely be stabbing and hitting at Zilla. But just his fire breath and the fact that he's able to tear through mountains and such with his claws, he would do the same to Mothra. If he's able to get his hands or claws around her, I just don't think Mothra would win. I think Zilla would win this 8 out of 10 times. He just has everything he needs. He has his size, he has his strength, he has his fire breath. I definitely think Mothra definitely would probably try to play this smart, but I just don't think she would have what it needs to kill him outright. So this is pretty much it for today's video. If anyone's commenting is like, no, Mothra should win, show some reasons why, and I'll comment and tell you why Zilla really will win. And Zilla Jr., and I'll probably do some more videos on him. If you have any other Titans you should put him up against, maybe the male Muto, which might be happening next, comment, or maybe even the Monster vs. Rodan. I guess I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.